We have to remember that prospecting, there's a reason that that's the term that we assign to this activity. It's the act of looking for something valuable amongst the dirt. If you're prospecting for gold, you have to go through a lot of dirt to find gold.
And fool's gold.
And fool's gold, right? And the goal is not to turn dirt to gold. It's not to transform dirt to gold. It's just to find the gold amongst the dirt. Mm-hmm. And that means that, yeah, you're going to come across dirt in your phone calls. There's going to be people that don't answer. There's going to be people that hang up on you. There's going to be people that are the wrong number.
It's a majority of prospecting is that.
Yes, the majority of prospecting is the dirt. If you focus on the gold nuggets that are in there, and I promise they're in there, then success is going to come. Mm-hmm. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the REDX channel. My name is Tyler Fenn. Happy to have you here, taking time out of your busy day. The reality is this: we all want to uncomplicate our lead generation and our prospecting. You're in the right place to do that. That's what we talk about here on the REDX channel, how to uncomplicate your lead generation. And I've got Kent with me here. Kent, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
Always happy to be here.
Here's the thing that I want to talk about.
Okay.
And it's good that you're on here because you are a very experienced prospector. Recently, we determined that we think that you've made over 1 million prospecting calls in your real estate career.
Coming up.
If not, then dang close.
Yep.
And because you're about 100,000 calls a year, but then there's been some times where you've increased that quite a bit. So really good that you're here because it's super relevant. The question that I have is, how do you handle wrong phone numbers?
I don't.
Okay, what does that mean? Because here's the reality. Prospecting by phone, it's not what it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It is more challenging to get people on the other end of the line for a number of reasons. We've got TCPA stuff that's really at the forefront of everybody's mind right now. We've got the fact that technology is changing. I mean, my smartphone, I can now configure settings to say, if they're not in my phone book, just send it right to my voicemail. There's the shift in how we communicate. I mean, in the last 6 years, with short form video content coming out and social media platforms being adopted at such a massive level, there's a lot of people that, if it's not through an Instagram DM, they just don't communicate with people. So there's more channels of communication vying for our attention. So let's just be real out of the gate. It's harder to get people on the phone than it was 10 years ago. That being said,
there's also technology that can quadruple.
That's
5x,
true. Also true. Maybe we should talk about
10x your production.
Agreed. I still believe that the phone is the most time and cost-effective tool to talk to as many people as you can in as short a time as possible. I don't know of a better way to do it.
Agreed.
To have one-on-one meaningful conversations. One-to-many, right? I can go put a post out on social media, but it's harder to measure the results of that. It's harder to predict the results of that. So it's still the most time and cost-effective way to talk to as many people as possible in the shortest amount of time. But you're going to get wrong phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So here's another thing that I think is really important to note is a lot of times when we talk about wrong phone numbers being an area that we're frustrated with, I think that do not call kind of gets grouped into that. I mean, it's not uncommon that somebody's like, well, half of the numbers are on the do not call list. Yes, that's the reality of it, which means that we have to be focused on calling the right people. We have to have the right tools and skills in place to ensure that the people that we can compliantly reach out to are that we're leveraging those people as best we can. Because I tell everybody, you should remain compliant. That is the reality of the world that we live in. The legislation and the TCPA is a hot thing right now. And so remaining compliant is important, and that is going to affect the numbers. But it just means that everything that we're going to talk about here is that much more important. We have to understand the data. We have to have the skills and be asking the right questions. And that means that the people that we can compliantly reach out to, that we're going to leverage that group to the best of our ability. So you, as somebody who makes 100,000 prospecting calls every year, what does that look like for you?
I mean, I think the times that I've cared the most about wrong phone numbers is the times that I was trying to be creative and saying, because every year it's almost guaranteed that I'm gonna, even with how many calls I've made, how much money I've made over the phone, there's still that, well, there's a better way to do it, because cold calling isn't fun. Like prospecting over the phone
Sure.
isn't fun. There's a lot sexier ways out there to get business, and then you always like just kind of flirt with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, this takes a lot of money and time, and at the end of the day, it still takes a phone call too. It's warmer.
Yeah, you're still driving them to the phones anyway.
But you're still driving them to the phones. Anyways, you learn to control the controllables and forget about the rest.
Okay.
I can't control if someone picks up the phone. I can't control if it's a wrong number. There's a lot of things that I can't control, so why should I give any mental energy to it?
Okay, so if that's the case, what can and do you control?
How much time I'm on the phone.
Okay, how much time you're on the phones? What else?
The questions I ask.
The questions you ask, so the script.
The script, the practice that I put in.
Okay, the practice that you put in.
So,
the skill level.
Skill level. So think about it this way. If less and less people are answering the phone, when someone does answer the phone, do your skills matter more than ever?
Oh, that's really, really important.
So if your skills suck, the way I would look at it is now you have, you can't, your skill set has to be higher now. Like you truly have to stand out with your tonality, your rate of speech, what you're saying, the questions you're asking, the confidence that you have over the phone. So because you have less at-bats. And when you have less at-bats, ultimately you got to make every conversation count.
Yeah, I've heard you say that the performance is the most important part, right?
Yeah.
Something along those lines. So tell me what that means, because I think it goes right along with what you're saying.
So why does a no-name actor that you've never heard of get paid $1 million to do a part, and Tom Hanks gets paid $25 million to do the same part?
Because it's Tom Hanks.
Yeah, performance, right?
Yeah.
Same script.
I give you both. Cry over a volleyball.
Yeah, good point. But if you gave him the same script, it's the same words, right?
Yeah.
One just performs differently. One put in more practice. One has more brand recognition. One has a lot of other things going for it. But performance over the phone is truly the most important thing. Because if I called you and you're new and I say you're the 10th agent to call me, and you say, I'm the 10th agent to call you, didn't you know that there's 100,000 agents in our market and only 10 of us are working? Like, click. Nobody's going to care about that. But if I'm like, oh man, the 10th agent, holy cow. That is not, I'm sure that is not what you were expecting today, is 10 agents to give you a call. That is so frustrating, Tyler. It's a beautiful home. I was actually really surprised to see it didn't sell. When it sold, where are we going to next?
And that works.
That works way better than some smart ass remark of 10 agents. So there's 108. Like, it's the performance of it. They're saying that because I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
So if I can be frustrated with you, that's a skill, and that's a performance skill.
I love that. To me, I look at it. I look at it from a data perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Is wrong numbers are going to happen, and if that's the case, like you said earlier, you're going to have less at bats. It means that you simply have to understand the data behind your prospecting, because if you focus on every individual dialogue or every individual bad number, prospecting is going to be a drag the whole time, and you're actually not going to stay consistent for very long.
Yeah.
But when you start to understand the link between the act of picking up the phone again and again and again, and the commission checks that come from it, then all of a sudden you have a larger, longer perspective than just, oh my goodness, I got a wrong phone number. I made 100 calls and talked to 10 people, and 5 of them were the wrong numbers.
Yeah.
Well, yes, that's the reality of the data, which means the 5 people that you do speak to, how do you talk to 10 of the right people? How do you increase the skills? How do you increase the time that you spend in role play? Because the data is what matters. And if you understand the data, then you leverage the data. But if all you ever do is leverage emotion, then your prospecting is never going to be very successful.
Yeah, agreed. How often do you see, so let me ask you this, how often do you see REDX make business decisions based off emotion?
Never.
How often do you see...
Except what we're ordering for lunch. That's
Fair,
an emotional one.
Obviously.
Okay.
Super important. But how often do you see real estate agents completely change the direction of their business, again, based off emotion?
Far more often than I should.
It probably happens 95% of the time.
A lot.
So what I would say, real estate agents would be way more successful if they gave it enough time to get enough data and then made decisions through data and not through emotion at all.
I agree.
Right? So how do successful sellers price their home? Based off emotion or based off of the data?
Based on what the market says it'll support. They're looking at comps, they're talking to their neighbors, they're doing research.
Unsuccessful sellers, every time that I go out and see them, it's my yard is better, my kitchen is better, my closet is better. Things that actually don't move the needle, but they emotionally put price tags on it, and then they price it above the market and completely ignore the data.
Yeah.
So data is king. Data is what runs business. Data is what runs the world. And now with AI, it's easier than ever to be like, hey, here's all the data I have. Here's all of my numbers. Spit it out to me and show me what I'm actually making per hour, per call, per dial.
So the per hour earnings is a really, really fascinating one, because you as a prospecting agent, a huge portion of your business comes from making these prospecting calls. And yes, there's wrong numbers. And that's why you use a dialer, and that's why you're efficient with your time, and that's why your skills matter. But I know that you track your earnings per hour consistently.
Yeah, over the phone.
As of the time that we're recording this podcast, what is your earnings per hour prospecting?
Over $700 an hour.
Over $700 an hour, which means for every hour you spend on the phone prospecting, you're earning $700 in commissions from those calls directly.
Mm-hmm. Directly or indirectly.
Oh, okay.
This is going to sound super granola and whatever, I don't care. I'm very much a believer that when you get on the phones, you're prospecting, you literally are putting it out to the universe like, I'm ready and I want more business. When you're idly sitting on your hands waiting for something to come to you, rarely does it come to you.
I don't disagree with that. I think that opportunity is created. It doesn't just fall in our laps.
Mm-hmm.
And so the act of being consistent, I think, does a tremendous amount for us. But here's what's wild. Your earnings per hour, and it doesn't account for the hours that it takes to get the transaction and all of that. It's just how much did I make from that transaction by being on the phones? And over $700 an hour. The last time we talked, it was closer to $800, right? It's closer to $800 an hour. I don't know of any agent watching this video on YouTube right now that wouldn't be like,
sign me up.
Sign me up. And it's there available. There's nothing stopping any of them other than sometimes the fear or the call reluctance or the misconception that wrong numbers are a terrible thing. They're not. They're just the reality of skip tracing data and the reality of the world that we live in. That's why the data matters in your prospecting. How many calls are you making? How many hours are you spending in role play? How much time do you spend on the phone? How many leads are you contacting? What does your follow-up look like?
Yeah.
And what questions do you ask when you're on the phone to convert?
I think that agents don't put enough volume in to actually get the data. A volume or consistency. So you can't make 100 calls and then say, well, it didn't work. Like you got to make thousands of calls.
Yes.
Then take that data set and say, okay, either where do I need to improve? What lead type should I lean into more? Like you're going to get results from the actual prospecting. I mean, you were my sales manager for a long time, managed the REDX sales team forever. You had guys that came in and said, I feel like Nobody's answering the phone. I feel like
Yeah.
fill in the blank. And then when you truly took a look at their numbers, because you tracked all the numbers,
Yes.
was it ever what they actually thought they were filling?
No.
Or was it always I didn't put enough outputs to get
Yes.
enough inputs?
Yeah, it was, I mean, I can't tell you how many times this happened where somebody would go, man, I'm just not talking to a lot of people, or I'm just not this and this and this. And when we'd pull out their performance, they were always shocked. They'd be like, oh, well, I thought I was making way more calls than that. You know, and it's like, well, if you're only making 20 calls in an 8-hour day, yeah, you can expect really, really poor results.
Yeah.
From that.
I always say this, if a new REDX sales guy comes and talks to me, and I know this has nothing to do with real estate, but it does have something to do with the phone. Remember when I made 400 phone calls on the click to call dialer? I don't think I ever had a worse sales day, but I don't think I ever had a better sales week to follow. So
it's notable. It's 400 calls turned into
one of my best weeks ever
of return calls and people reaching back out.
But if I ever judged it just on that day,
yeah,
it was a terrible day.
Yeah.
I mean, I made 400 calls for reasons because literally I wasn't talking to hardly anybody. But I shook the tree enough that enough fruit fell for me to pick up the next week.
Yeah, 400 calls on a single line.
Click to call dialer. Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, here's I think the moral of it. I think really what it comes down to is we have to remember that prospecting, there's a reason that that's the term that we assign to this activity. And if you look at prospecting at its core, it's the act of looking for something valuable amongst the dirt. If you're prospecting for gold, you have to go through a lot of dirt to find gold.
And fool's gold.
And fool's gold, right? You've got to go through a lot of it to find that. And the goal is not to turn dirt to gold. It's not to transform dirt to gold. It's just to find the gold amongst the dirt. Mm-hmm. And that means that, yeah, you're going to come across dirt in your phone calls. There's going to be people that don't answer. There's going to be people that hang up on you. There's going to be people that are the wrong number. Yes, that's part of the dirt in prospecting. But
it's a majority of prospecting is that.
Yes, the majority of prospecting is the dirt. But if you focus on the dirt, if you're going to find what you look for. If you focus on that, you're going to get discouraged. If you focus on the gold nuggets that are in there, and I promise they're in there, then success is going to come. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, focus on what you can control. Like, get a dialer, turn on that dialer. When someone says hello, say hello back and read through your script. And if they're motivated, they're going to cooperate with you and you're probably going to get an appointment. If not, you're going to learn a lesson that's going to help you get future appointments.
Love it. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. If you want to continue to uncomplicate your prospecting and your lead generation, this is the place to come back to again and again and again. Check out our website, redx.com. And if you've got questions, call us. Reach out to us. We're here to help. See you next time.